I don't know, I just like trying to know things that apply to my life on some level. Like if I know about cars, then that might be able to apply to my life. Um, Before I had a computer, I used to just take the cars apart and stare at them and wonder what the fuck was going on. And so, like, anytime somebody's car broke down or something, I'd be like, can I take it apart? And I'd rip their car apart, and I'd feel bad, but it was the only way you could really learn. And I'd ask them before, like, are you gonna junk this car? And they'd be like, yeah, we're gonna junk it. And I'd be like, so can I take it apart? And like, if they got mad at me, I would understand, because like, if they're like, no, don't do that, I'd be like, okay. But now I know enough. Like, I remember my friend had a car with a turbo and an intercooler, and it broke down, and he said he was just going to scrap it. And I was like, well, I want to take it apart to see how that shit works. So I took it all apart. And I actually did learn something. I could see where the turbo was like sucking air off of the hot muffler, and then it passed it through the intercooler, and then the turbo and different things. I don't know. But I'll just be like listening to Alex Jones. And it's like, how much does what he say applies to my life? He's always talking about stuff. It just seems like it hardly applies to your life. Except just certain things, like if he's like, the New World Order is going to come and get you, it's like, well, on some level that's true, because there are people out there to get you, whether they're called the New World Order or not, it don't matter. So that's true. And then he might say, oh, plant a garden, and then buy seeds from me, or be afraid of Fukushima, here, buy my iodine. Oh, they put fluoride in the water, here, buy this water filter that removes fluoride. It just seems like everything, if they're like, oh, they're gonna beam your brain with ELF weapons, and they're gonna make you want to go buy a AR-15, like they keep talking about. And they, you know, it's like a false stimulation of the economy. They just tell the lemmings what to like by acting like they're gonna ban it or something. It's like, why would they really want to ban guns if they're really wanting to soft kill people? Wouldn't, if you just gave them some guns and, you know, some loose cannons, you know, and just give it to everybody, and eventually, like, if everybody has a gun and some of those people are just born without brains or something, you know, I'm sure that's happened. It's called, like, retarded, like, really, you know. So some people could be, like, born mentally retarded. or mentally ill or something, and then they give him mass murder pills, and he's right about that. And so that does apply to your life. A lot of this does apply to your life, but it's just like, that's the thing, like, some things seem to be very physical, and definitely, like, you can see it, like, if he's like, oh yeah, this or that, and it's like, that's true, but then it seems like some of the things he talks about, it's like, I don't even know half of it, and it's like, compared to something like working on a car or something, it's just like, how much is that useful? Like he'll say things like, learn how to skin a buck and run a trout line, and I don't know, like, I was even watching Glenn Beck, and he was like, learn how to do things, and I just, like, I was listening to Alex Huxley, A Brave New World, just for fun, I guess, I don't know. And they were like, ending is better than mending. So I thought, what if I learned how to fix things? But I don't know, I feel older all of a sudden. Like, I feel like I felt young up until like today, and then I feel older for some reason. I feel like old hit me all of a sudden, but not bad, because I'm like, oh well, I have 30 years of being old before I'm even like old. So it's like, what the fuck? I think it's smoking cigarettes. Made me feel old. Yeah, I'm gonna have to quit. Cigarettes are retarded. But it's an addiction, so sometimes that retarded can really get you, and then it's like extra retarded. And you're like, wait a minute, what the fuck? I'm addicted to this cigarette? How the fuck did that happen? And it's like, let me think back to how I started smoking. That's right, peer pressure. Yes, I remember very vividly relentless, non-stop harassment type torture, peer pressure from people that smoke. Like, if you go to school, that there's some kind of peer pressure. I like school, everything. I don't think I did well. I was probably retarded, but I liked it. And then when it was done, I was over it. And I thought elementary school was pretty neat. Then when you get to high school, it just seemed like a zombie apocalypse or something. But that's just teenagers or something, I don't know. But like, because just weird things, like the bell would ring and everybody goes out in the hall and they have to fight, and there's no way to navigate 1,000 people in a hallway, and they're all trying to get somewhere. So it's like, ring, and then it's like everybody's in the hall, and then you're just like, and it's just like, just weird shit like that. Just, it was like, and just like, even if you're in the classroom, just, it was always like retarded in high school. I think it was the school and the teachers and the students were retards, but elementary school, it seemed like um, just different. I don't know, maybe because you're younger, but I guess that's all besides the point. It's like, because I just remember things, like, I remember, like, eating in the cafeteria, and you'd just be, like, sitting there eating, and you just remember it, and it's like, what memory does that serve? But that's what you would do. You would go to school. Like now, like people just go to work, and it's like they get to the point where they're just like functional zombies. It's like this so repetitive, and they might be good or something at it, and it's like it fucks with me, because like I was trying to buy some stuff. I was looking at prices to like buy a boat or something, you know, a cheap like flat bottom John boat or something. And so like I just call a couple places, and then one place called me like every day for like 6 months, and I wouldn't answer, because I just thought it was weird that they would call, because I'd call them, and then but like you could tell they were like just kind of like telemarketer in a way. Like you could hear people talking in the background, and they would be talking about selling something different, so you're like, what? But I figured maybe they're just selling buildings or something, you know, or that they just hired a place to do it. A lot of places do that. And they're like, well, we want to come over and make an offer or something. And then so I'm like, okay, sure, because I was wanting to see like what offers they would make too. And then when they get here, when they get here, they give a high pressure sales pitch. And you know, he almost had me fooled too, but luckily I knew not to like take an offer on the first day or whatever. But he was real high pressure. He was like 60 or 70. He was fat, all gray, white hair, all gray hair, and he tried to sell me a boat for $1,000 more. Like, say it's $1,500, he tries to charge me $2,500, $2,500, and you know, that's probably like a normal price. You know, it's probably like retail or something, I don't know. Because that's the thing, you don't really know the price on something like that. It's hard to tell. And so $1,000 difference is a big difference, but when you're when you don't really know, you don't really know. And they don't want an educated, well-informed buyer when it comes to prices. Like, and I guess if you're rich, then it doesn't matter, you know. And so just like, you know, my car broke one time, and I was like, well, I know about cars, but I don't know what to do. So I was like, the only thing I can do is take it to a mechanic. And so it was my first car that I ever bought. You know, I like bought it for like $500, and then it like broke, of course, and I figured, you know. So I took it to the mechanic, and they're like, oh, it needs a timing chain. And it turns out it needed a coil pack or something. And it's like I gave them $800 to do it. It's like, you know, I work at fast food. I work at McDonald's. And so, you know, $800 is 2-3 paychecks, maybe. Probably 2 or 3, you know, 2.5. You know, so now they, you know, it's like they're not gonna rip me off now. And so now that I know, it's like people like think that I don't know how to, like, what cars are some magical creation created by God. Like, no, there wasn't a factory that made cars, just God made them, and there's no way I could know anything about them. You know, I couldn't imagine what they think about doctors. I don't, not really, but I don't know. Or what if I became a doctor? I don't know. Doctor. Or a chemist, or a biologist, or a genetic engineer, or a microbiologist, or a philosopher, or an engineer. Engineer, yeah. Or all of them. You know. So the guy, you know, he comes over and he like gives me this high pressure and just the sales pitch that he gives, and I honestly had to hold myself back from like just decking him in his face. And I'm just like, my body's just like about ready to just like do it, and I'm just like, no, body, why would you do that? And it's like, punch this guy. And I'm like, no. I swear I have no, it's weird, like, it's like that movie, like, with the Necronomicon, and like the dude's hand was like it fucking like does that shit, dude. And it's like, I'm like, no, don't do it. And he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, no. but not really, you know. But I don't know why you would punch somebody in the face, even if they're trying to rip you off, you know. It's better to go to heaven without any hands than to go to hell with your hands. So put your fucking hands up. It'll be like like that movie. Like somebody told me to like listen to, or they're like, I like this kind of music or something, and I'm like, okay. So you're listening to like some kind of music, and it's like fucking retarded. You know, and you don't know. But then it's like the music was so bad that it like woke you up. It's like at some point you're like just like it's not even the music anymore. You're just like sitting there, standing there, looking at a computer screen or out and working at a job somewhere, and just it might like just dawn upon you like, man, like this is just too stupid. Maybe I said that wrong. You know, I think you'd be mistaken just because I said it wrong. It just seems like the fluoride in the water like makes people like overly like ego. They got like a lot of ego or something, which I guess that's probably normal. I don't know. Because somebody might say, you don't have, you're not on an ego trip or something. You're not normal. I don't even know. But like with this guy that came over and tried to make a fucking weird ass sale. God, that was like so fucked up, dude. And you know, like some guy like stealing scrap out of the back of my truck or something, like it was just fucking weird. It was almost like as weird as this telemarketer that showed up at my house to make a sale, like a bad Kirby dealer but with boats. And just the weird shit. Like, I fucked around. There's a different telemarketers around here, and I went there, and I did get a job as one, and I was like totally like fucking around. Like, man, I would make a crazy good telemarketer, dude, because I know every button whistle. I'm like what the fuck? They just gave me this system. Like, fuck those motherfuckers. They're retarded. Watch me hit this button. And it's just like, and it's like, those people got way too much shit, dude. It's just like prank calling people all day long. Like, hi sir. I only did it for a day before they like fired me. It was funny, because to me it was just like way too funny to fucking like call a million people. You probably don't even like get anything. But it's not that I would do anything bad. It's just like a giant prank calling system where you could just like halfway fuck with people. And it's like, if you had a job like just fucking with people, like I would just make it into like a joke, like you're a telemarketer, but it's almost like a prank call. And so I'd be all like halfway fucking with people, like, hi sir, how are you today? Would you like to buy a toaster? It's on sale right now. We have a huge surplus of toasters, and they're only $20. And it's like, you know, you buy a toaster for like $5. So it's just like giving them a line of bullshit or something, you know. I could never do that. Like, I would never do that. That's why I would turn it into like a joke, and then they get fired like that day. Because it's like I did it just for fun, just to see. And it's retarded. And it just, like, the insight it gave me of how retarded shit is, and how much of dystopia we live in, and how I live in that dystopia, and how that's a life experience, is like the dystopian life experience. You live your life in an idiocracy. But I guess, you know, that's the environment we have to adapt to, so you can learn humane resources which teach you how to deal with like fucked up dumb fucks, and turn them into a resource, something useful, like useful idiots or something. So it's like kind of listening to Alex Jones is kind of useful, but not really, because I don't think he can say a lot of those things. He's like the first level. When the second level is, it's like, okay, you're awake, but that's something you did. Not that you're any better, it doesn't make you any better, you know, but It's like, now would you do the role reversal and become the Illuminati? Or whatever. Or when you could have the cognitive dissidence, or I don't know how to say it, and that's where you we like pay you, and then that makes it okay, and then like you rationalize it in your head to why it's okay to do that. It's just, we pay you, like that. There's your reward. Like, it's hard to feel bad when we're activating the dopamine by just handing you money, and you're just like, wow, here's $1,000, freshly printed off the fiat stamp. Fed fiat currency. I got a silver dollar. It has a silver note. Payable, silver payable to the bearer on demand. That's why Alex Jones says buy silver and gold. I think that's true, because if you buy gold now, and say 10 years from now it triples in value. It's not, say you bought $500 in gold, and then 10 years from now it turns into $5,000 in the gold, but that $5,000 buys the same amount of gold. That's how much the money inflated. That's how much your dollar is worthless. So it's like, you know, your fat dollar is now, and it's just like shit. It does seem to be real, you know. Okay, bye.